Welcome to Only Murders in My Mind, a Random Thought production. Hi, I'm Carol Bissett, a crime writer, and I invite you with my co-presenters, Liz Hedgecock and Mike Jackson, each week to our conversations on all things murderous. Hello everybody, I'm back.
She is.
I'm better. Did you miss me? Thank you to Liz and Mike for stepping in when I wasn't well. I really was quite poorly, but it seems to be going round. I'm not special. This virus hasn't singled me out. It's laid a lot of people low over. So I was before Christmas. It was a good month. So I'm so pleased to be back. Did listen to your podcast that you did without me. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed them. So I was going, they can manage without me.
Oh, we missed you. We really did. It's just very strange, just two of us in the room.
Talking.
No, we did miss you.
Plus you, of course. John.
Yeah, we did miss you. Sorry. Carol. No, we did miss you, Carol, honestly.
I did think actually about putting a big cuddly toy here, with a smile on its face so that you had something to look at.
We probably would have asked its opinion about various things. But,
and it probably would have a better opinion than Liz and I had.
Speak for yourself, Mike.
So, first of all, Happy New Year.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know an episode went out last week, but I feel we're really into the new year now.
This is our first session of the year. So
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So, did you both have a good Christmas and New Year?
Yes, it was lovely. Although I'm recovering from a week of basically being stuck in the house because of being snowed in.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of grim.
And Mike, you have as well, haven't you? Been
Yes,
snowed in?
we've been snowed in. It's been quite bad, the snow, which is unusual for around here. We don't often get a lot of snow, but before today, I'd hardly been out of the house for the last week.
I think in the Warrington area, and it probably applies to quite a lot of other areas, our main roads were clear pretty quickly, but side roads and pavements, they've been treacherous to say the least. And everything got cancelled.
Yes.
Yes. And then my husband would pop to the supermarket and then come back and go, you wouldn't like it out there. And I'm like, yes, I know. That's why I'm indoors and you're going to the supermarket.
Yeah, no, I didn't go out last week. And a friend of mine who kindly gives me a lift each week to the choir I'm in fell and badly broke her ankle.
Ooh.
Oh. So get well soon, Marie. She's got to have
absolutely.
She's got to have surgery on it. So it must have been a nasty break. But there's a few people that I've heard of that have had falls and hurt themselves one way or another.
So stay safe.
Yeah, be careful out there. The writing side of it. Did you have a complete break? Oh, you didn't. Of course you didn't, Liz.
Me? I may have just scrambled to finish a story over the Christmas period and actually sent it to the editor on the 30th of December.
Now, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Is this the collection of stories that you... Yes. So how did that come about?
Well, I was invited to contribute a story to one of the collections way back when. This is the MX Sherlock Holmes series, MX Publishing, edited by David Markham, and David invited me to it a while back. And the series, I think it issues volumes twice a year, I think it usually is. Lots and lots of Sherlockians contribute to them, and this volume that I've submitted to is the very last in the series. So I think David is stepping back from doing the whole big collections thing, and is going to do one-offs from now on. So I wanted to be part of it if I possibly could. And of course I got an idea at the very last minute, emailed David saying, I'm probably left this far too late, etc., thinking, I probably have left it too late. Now I won't have to write it. And then he emailed back going, that's really intriguing. I'd love to read that. And I thought, I've got to write this now. So, yes.
Not only that, she set herself the task, did Liz, of writing a story that had quizzes and all sorts, and what was it? Crosswords.
Yes, it's crossword clues.
Yes, so on top of having to concoct a story with a mystery in, she also made it doubly hard.
Oh, and it was set in America in 1920, so the amount of research you have to do to work out, could they send telegraphs? Did they have a phone line? All of those sorts of things. Were there cars around? Yes, there probably were, but would this person have had one?
Yes, so it was,
I don't make life easy for myself.
You don't, do you?
No.
No. She
No.
likes a challenge. Mike, did you completely relax from your writing over the festive season?
Yes, I've done very little writing. What I have been into, certainly over the last 3 or 4 weeks, is YouTube.
Oh, right, okay.
I've been looking at YouTube a lot, and I've started 2 YouTube channels.
Oh, well, you have been busy then.
Over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I've revived mine, actually. It must
Have
be
you?
something in the air.
Yeah, I'm into shorts, YouTube shorts. But I've got 2 channels. One's about inspirational quotes, and the other one has got some short sci-fi dystopian stories on it.
Oh, nice.
And I've put links on our Only Murders in My Mind blog page. So if you want to have a look at either of those, there's links up there.
Right.
With a couple
I
of
might
examples.
send you to mine as well.
Yes.
No, that's a good
Yes.
idea,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the blog that we do, well, Mike does.
Yes, it does.
It makes a really good job of it. I'm very impressed when I look at it each week. So I have been inspired to go back to my writing. I was I'd really lost the love of writing. I don't know whether it's because I just had one illness after another, and you just don't feel like doing anything. But I'm all up for finishing my novella.
Cool.
Cowslip Brown Investigates.
Yes.
Poor woman. And then I'm going to get going on my next Warrington Detective. So I've been mulling ideas round about that. So I'm up for that.
Going back to the not feeling like writing, I think it's because it really can be a mental effort.
Yeah.
And I think people think, oh, it's lovely. You just sit there and imagine things and write them down. And, you know, I mean, sometimes when it flows like that, it is wonderful and it's easy. But there's the times when it doesn't. So,
I think the worst time I ever had with writing was over COVID.
Yeah.
When I thought I'd have so much time in my hand, I'd be able to write lots. I actually wrote less during that time.
Yeah, I think that's how I felt a little bit. I felt like I did during COVID, and as well. I mean,
it's because you don't get a chance to get out.
No,
and meet people, sit in coffee shops, that sort of thing. I think that's where you get your, I was going to say inspiration. It's get your energy from.
Yeah,
you need to fill the creative well.
That's right.
You? And you can't really do that stuck in your own front room.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we should talk more about mental health generally, but I think I probably got quite low because I wasn't well.
Yeah.
I think my mental health wasn't as good as it should have been. And of course, my little cat died. Big R. Thank you. So,
what's more with feeling, John?
Thank you. But on brighter things, a good segue from what Liz was talking about, doing puzzles and crosswords in her latest, it's a short story, isn't it?
It is a short story. It's about 7,000 words, so it's a little one.
We're going to talk about murder mystery games that have evolved over the years in this episode. And I've got to be honest with you, the only one I really know, and I used to really like playing it, was Cluedo.
Oh, yes.
I think it's the one that comes to mind every time.
Do you think it was the first one?
It was certainly early on. It was 1944.
Oh, right.
And it was invented by a gentleman called Anthony E. Pratt.
That's a great name.
Great name. 1943.
Ah.
First published in 1949. And do you know,
why did it take so long?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Apparently in America it's called Clue.
Oh, right. Okay.
It is like the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh, it's great. Tim Curry's the butler.
Oh, right. I'm going to watch this.
And there are alternate endings.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It's right
great.
up my street.
Yeah, give it a go. It's lots of fun. Of course, you have these very stereotypical characters.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of breaking the fourth wall and all that sort of thing. And Tim Curry racing around the mansion, because of course there's a mansion.
Of course there has to be a mansion.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The daft thing is, even though I know all about Cluedo, I've never played it.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I know. I'm a
Oh,
disappointment.
you haven't lived.
I'm a disappointment to many people.
we should. I should have brought my Cluedo set. We could have had a game right now. I think it would have been quite dull for the people listening.
I really liked it, and I haven't played it for a long time. And if I remember, if I don't sort of misremember, I think I was quite good at it. Now,
well, you would think, being a writer of
crime,
crime stories.
I used to get the murderer first, usually when I played, but that could.
Do we need to explain it at all for
I
anyone
think
who
so,
might be listening who doesn't. Right. So basically, the object of the game is to determine who murdered the game's victim. That happens before the game starts. And you have 6 suspects, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And you have a mansion because it's that kind of country house murder vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has, lots of very nice rooms. So what sort of rooms does it have now? It's got a dining room,
Library.
of
Oh,
course.
I've got a list here.
Oh,
Yeah.
go on.
Oh, go on then. I
Yeah.
knew Mike would have a list.
Kitchen.
Okay.
Dining room.
Mm-hmm.
Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Study.
Oh yeah, you could have
Library.
a study. Mm.
Conservatory. Cellar. Hall and ballroom.
There we go.
And I'll tell you why I've got that list later.
Okay. Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh. And there are secret passages as well between some rooms.
There are, aren't there?
So the board is set out. So you have like a plan of the house and you've got to move along the squares. So there's a dice involved. And you have to try and get to a room, or you can land on a square, I think, where you can ask a question, because you have to be in a room to accuse somebody.
Mm.
So the way you work it out is by you have like cards with right. So everyone has a set amount of cards, and you'll have some cards with murder weapons on, and you'll have some cards with characters on, and you'll have some cards with locations on. And basically, if you've got that card, then you know it isn't in the envelope that contains the person, the weapon, and the location.
Sounds a little bit like traitors.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, again, with traitors, you've got
Yeah.
that. We're all in a big house.
Yeah.
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 It's the whole locked room that we've talked about
Yeah.
before.
Well,
locked mansion in
Locked
this
mansion in
case.
this place.
I mean, the difference being that, there isn't going to be another murder includer. You've just
No.
got to sort out the
One.
one that there has been.
And the move, what you move round are like they're like little figures, and they're all coloured, aren't
Yes.
they?
So
Like,
you've got Miss Scarlet,
yes, Miss
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel
Dr. Plum?
Mustard, Mrs. White. Got another list here. I'll tell you why
Go on,
later. Reverend Green,
Always full of surprises.
Miss
isn't it?
Scarlet, Mrs. Peacock, and Professor Plum.
Professor
Oh,
Plum.
yes.
Yeah.
Because you
Professor
want me
Plum.
to tell you how come but I've never played the game. I've got all this information.
Go on then.
Or shall I keep it to myself?
Oh no,
No, I think you should
we
tell
want
us
to
'cause,
know.
I'm on tenterhooks here.
Yeah. Apparently, in 2008, a variation was created called "Discover the Secrets," and it
It
revised.
doesn't trip off the tongue, does
no,
it?
but it revised the names of the characters, gave them backstories and special powers,
Ooh,
and
Special powers.
yeah, and renamed some of the rooms, added more weapons, and changed others.
oh.
So the six suspects from the original game have been updated to include
Mm-hmm.
first names. So Miss Scarlet becomes Cassandra Scarlet,
Uh-huh.
a famous actress often featured in the tabloids. Colonel Mustard becomes Jack Mustard, a former football player. Mrs. White becomes Diane White, an ex-child star. Reverend Green becomes Jacob Green, a go-to guy with all the ins, whatever that means. Mrs. Peacock becomes Eleanor Peacock. And Professor Plum becomes Victor Plum, a billionaire video game designer.
Oh God.
Yeah, they've kind of left behind the country house vibe. haven't
Yeah,
they?
yes,
It's not
yeah, very
really
much so.
Agatha anymore,
Yeah.
is it?
But they've changed the weapons as well, apparently, in this new game.
Okay, so what do we have now?
So the rope, which is original, I think. Actually,
Yes,
yes, it is.
yeah. Candlestick,
Yeah.
original. Knife,
Yeah.
a dagger in the US. Pistol replaces revolver. Bat
Yeah.
instead of a lead pipe.
Mm. Well, there's probably regulations about lead piping.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, lead's not good for you. Dumbbell.
Especially not when it's over the head with it.
Dumbbell replaces spanner and wrench.
Okay.
Trophy is a new one. Poison is a new one. And axe is a new one. But apparently, axe and poison were included in the very first version of Cluedo that apparently Anthony Pratt did it with his wife. Him and his wife came up with this game. They were there. But when it was actually published, the people making the game thought that there were too many
Yeah.
weapons, so they dropped it. And then apparently they've also changed some of the rooms. So the ballroom is now the patio.
Oh gosh.
The conservatory is now the spa. The billiard room is a theatre. The library is a living room. The cellar is a pool. Study is an observatory. And the lounge is the guest house.
I think it's sad that the study and the library have both been replaced.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Just going to say.
I mean, everybody has a library, don't they?
And apparently he
Well,
sold...
in a sort of a way.
Yeah, Mr. Black sold... Oh, apparently he even in his original game had Mr. Pratt had 2 extra characters, Mr. Silver and Mr. Black. But when he sold the rights, they disappeared along with the axe and he sold it for $14,000 in the early 60s.
Right. How much would that be now? A goodly sum, I imagine.
I should think. Yeah.
I still don't think, mind you, it's a gamble, isn't it? Considering how famous and well known Cluedo is, it doesn't seem a lot of money.
Yeah. Although I've been reading a book about Scrabble.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very much into the board game vibe.
All right. Okay.
Yes, and the inventor, and I think he ended up licensing it to somebody, and they couldn't keep up with it, and then they ended up like passing it on to a proper games manufacturer, who again couldn't keep up with it, and eventually I think Hasbro got hold of it. So yeah, it just seemed to be a thing of, if you can exploit it, then fantastic. But if you don't actually have the setup to be able to manufacture and distribute the game, then
you've got no
probably
choice.
are better off either licensing it or selling it outright and getting a really good fee if you possibly can.
Because they have World Scrabble Championships, don't they?
Oh, they absolutely do.
I've
been reading all about this.
They don't have World Cluedo Championships, do they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sort of thing the Americans would do, isn't it?
I think what was amazing when I was doing some research.
Sorry, America.
So when I was doing some research for the episode, looking into board games, Cluedo's the obvious one that comes to everybody's mind straight away. But when you actually look around, there are hundreds and hundreds of board games out there. It's amazing just how popular they are.
And these are all crime, mystery, that type of thing.
There's one called 221B Baker Street.
Oh, now what could that be based on?
Yes. In fact, I think there are a few. I found a few Sherlock Holmes ones.
Oh, if you have any Sherlock connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
tell me about those ones, because I don't think I've played them.
No, I haven't played them. Apparently you have, let me see what I've got written down here.
He's done his research.
Yeah, you play the role of the master detective himself, solving a number of different cases in Victorian London. You read a detailed description of the crime before you from one of the 75 different case cards, and then set off around the streets to visit key locations and to gather clues. I suppose they're all very much of the same. It's a bit like Cluedo, that you're going there, you're going around a board in a mansion. Here you're going around streets.
Yeah. So how many players does that have?
I don't know.
Or are you all Sherlock Holmeses?
You've got to have props of Sherlock Holmes and
possibly, yes, possibly
three villains, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny enough. I don't. We must find that out. Apparently, the clues can be narrative or cryptic hint.
Well, what was the board game called where they all sat up? And you had to eliminate.
Oh, guess who?
That's it. You just flicked it forward, didn't you?
Yeah, right. You'd ask a question like, "Do they wear glasses?"
Have a beard?
And
yeah,
then flick.
Much more simple game.
I mean, I suppose the thing with Cluedo is, everyone's a detective.
Yeah.
And I suppose the nice thing about it is that you can learn from what other people are asking and what they're doing, because you go round, don't you, and you say, "Do you have Professor Plum, or do you have, Colonel Mustard or whatever," and they have to be honest with you, and you go round until either someone says, "I can show you whatever."
Yeah, you're just eliminating people all the time. Aren't you?
I think it's a bit like this Baker Street one, because apparently when you solve the mystery, you must return to 221B Baker Street and announce your resolution. So I presume all the players are Sherlock Holmes, and it's the winner is the one who gets back to 221B Baker Street with the answer.
Which I suppose is like when you read a mystery or a crime novel, because we're all kind of trying to be the detective, aren't we? Even while we're reading about the detective.
And the other thing, because again, it made me think of one of our podcast episodes. As well as these clues, they throw in some red herrings.
Yeah.
It sounds intriguing.
It does.
Yeah.
Another one here, because I know this is something we're going to talk about in a future podcast about ghosts. It's called Mysterium. You're playing a group of psychics, and the ghost of a person who was murdered at a Halloween party 1 year ago has been sending you visions in dreams, like clues, and you have to find the killer, the room, and the object.
That
So,
does sound very
Cluedo-ish,
similar with
yeah.
a bit of a, yes.
Yeah, bit of a twist.
We'll get it just far enough so that we don't get sued here.
Oh yeah, there'll be a lot of that, won't there, going on?
Probably.
Yeah.
The person playing the ghost is not allowed to speak. Gives cards out.
What, and then just sits there?
I don't know. Yeah. Apparently, it's
Fancy not being the ghost.
I was looking at it on Amazon, and it sells a lot of games. It's one of the top
there you
games,
go.
apparently.
Wow.
I think it's just the way I'm explaining it makes it sound so boring.
But one I do remember playing is Scotland Yard.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone
yeah.
else played
No.
that?
Never played it. No.
Oh, it's great. One of you is a criminal. And you can kind of be undercover and you move around. I mean, the one I've played is set in London. And you have to use public transport, so no sneaky taxis or anything. And you have so many tokens. And everyone else is a detective trying to track you down.
Oh, right. So, yeah, there's something on the television, isn't there, where people are being chased. I can't remember what it's called now.
Is that Hunted?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. The thing is, they can force the criminal to show themselves.
Oh, right.
So they kind of pop up.
Oh.
And then they go again, and you don't know where they are. So
And you've played that one, have you?
I have played that one,
Yeah.
yes, and it's a lot of fun if you're
Is
the
it?
criminal. Yeah, it's
Oh.
not so much fun if you're the detective. You're like, oh, Coises, where have they gone? But you can do sneaky things like get on a river taxi.
Ah.
Because people will be expecting you to use the underground.
Yes.
And then, if you sneak on a river taxi, you can just go woo down the Thames and
Yeah,
pop up
very
somewhere
quickly.
completely
I
different.
end up in Greenwich, yeah.
Well, there are worse places you could be.
Yes, Greenwich is very nice.
It is. It's lovely. I used to visit a lot as a child.
Yes.
Because we lived just a bus ride
All
away.
right.
Apparently, another one, and some of these games come from successful television programs or successful books. And the board game Traitors is very popular at the moment because of the popularity of the show.
Well,
yes.
Liz had said how much she enjoyed it, and quite a few other people had told me how good it was. And I tried to get into this game. If anybody doesn't know what it is, there isn't just the English version. I think there's one in America.
There's an American one, yes. Yeah.
Basically, they take a group of people to a castle and they nominate 3 traitors who try and kill off as many people, and the people who aren't traitors try and find out who they are. And a couple of times I've tried to watch it and thought, no, this really isn't, catching my imagination. And my daughter said to me over Christmas, give it another go. It's really addictive. Can't stop watching it.
No, it is addictive. I know I watched the first series and thought, no, I'm not sure about this, but once you get into it,
Yes.
it is addictive. As much because of some of the characters. That
Oh,
they've
yeah.
managed to-
Oh, the characters are amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yes.
And when they've got a hidden agenda and
Yep.
we know what it is and we're watching the other people who don't know what it is.
And
we're
the
thinking,
tears
Oh,
and the
the tears,
tantrums.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, yes. So it's.
And the thing where they've all been bad mouthing someone and saying, oh, they've gone. And then they walk in, oh, it's you. How lovely is it?
I would
You
imagine
rotten liars.
Yes.
I should imagine a program, because it's on at the moment, and I should imagine a program like that must have therapists and what have you, people on board, because some of those people get
I'm
very
sure they
involved in
will
it.
have. Yeah.
They
I mean,
need
the
support.
other thing that interested me is someone said it's basically winged murder, isn't it? Because the thing is, they don't stay on the premises overnight.
No.
They all go back to their nice hotels, and presumably in the morning it's like, oh, you got murdered in the night. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting
It's
way.
interesting.
Because I thought they stayed in the castle, but they
No, they
don't.
don't,
They?
no.
They go to their individual accommodation
Yes.
so that nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think they want you to think that they stay in the castle,
Yeah.
but no, they really don't.
No.
I mean, it's like all these games, isn't it? That it's whoever thought it up. It was a very clever idea,
Yes.
which is obviously been taken up by a lot of people who find it intriguing, which is why they keep coming back with it.
Well, it's
isn't it?
water cooler TV, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Because I think it's one of the few programs that it'll go on iPlayer once it's aired, but you can't watch the whole thing.
No, you can't,
If I'm correct.
No, and I think they have a program on BBC Two afterwards where they interview the people who've been murdered.
I've not.
I've not watched that.
I think it's
watching-
called Uncloaked, isn't it?
Is it
Oh,
Uncloaked?
could be.
Oh, right.
I was going to say I'm watching the first series, which obviously I can watch one after the other at the moment. And as I
Apparently, it's
say,
got a podcast too that goes with it. It's
wouldn't
like
be
all
surprised.
these things.
Oh yeah,
You
it
know.
used to be that you just have the show, and now you have the show about the show,
Show.
and the
That's right.
podcast about
Podcast
the
about,
show,
yeah.
and the board game of the show.
yeah. So that's actually spawned a board game.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
just
even though it's based on like, you know, some of the simple Victorian parlour games,
Yes.
like, you know, Wink Murder. And I was thinking of Murder in the Dark, which
Oh, no, that
sounds
rings a bell.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I remember playing this at like kids' parties and whatnot when I was very small. But from the sound of it, Murder in the Dark is meant to be quite sophisticated. The way we played it was we switched the lights off, and then, you know, someone would touch you and you went, because you'd all get yourselves completely worked up, you know.
We played a game similar to that. Somebody turned the lights off and we found a girl to kiss, but
Different sorts of parties, Mike, clearly.
I was going to say if you think of how people get involved in murder mystery weekends and murder mystery evenings, you can understand how this lot are getting hyped up.
Oh yeah,
when they're together for I don't know how long it is, and there is potentially a large cash prize at the end of it.
And also there's the thing of, well, there's this big cash prize, and if I stick with these people, then I could win a third of it. But if I double cross them, I could have a lot for myself. Yeah. So
it's very intriguing, I must admit.
It is. And I suppose also there's the additional dimension of, you know, if I play this right, I could become like a celebrity.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who won last time,
Don't tell me.
no, but has become something of a celebrity.
Oh,
You
yeah,
see
that
him on
was-
lots of different things. And
Yeah.
that was
Was it good, that one?
it was devious.
It was incredibly devious.
Yeah.
So I think it works. The traitors just have to be really good liars.
Yeah.
I don't think really.
I'll try
good
not to spoil
liars.
it for you, Liz, because you're watching it. But just to say this, he was so good that this woman, this young girl who'd really taken to him and really, really, really believed in him, was absolutely devastated when she found out he was a traitor. So, and this is what I go back to. You know, there must have been a therapist on it.
Oh, I
because
think
she would have
so.
needed some sort of.
Well, you remember in the early days of Big Brother when you got like the psychologist doing like the sound bites about what was going on? I imagine they've got people, you know, full time in the hotel going, tell me, let's decompress about today. So
Another one I found, and I found it quite by accident, called Cryptic Killers.
Oh no, don't know that one.
No, it's apparently it came about with two guys, I think, during lockdown.
Oh
who
right,
sort of
okay.
Came up with this.
Yeah.
And it is so popular that it outsells Monopoly, Scrabble, and a host of others.
Good grief.
And apparently there are 10 of these games, and I've seen
So
them
what
around.
is it?
It's one of these where you see sometimes in the shops where these games are in an envelope, so
Yeah.
all the details are in there. A bit like the not secret rooms, locked room, escape rooms.
Yeah.
Oh
The
yeah,
escape
yeah.
rooms.
Yeah.
So all the information sort of put into an envelope. I think it's that more so than a board as such. So all the clues and everything go in. And apparently there are 10 of them at the moment. There's murder of a millionaire, murder of a musician, murder at the movie theatre, murder of a marine biologist, murder in Miami. These guys have obviously found something that works.
Yeah.
And are just...
It kind of sounds like they've
replicating
taken the plot of a murder mystery
Yeah.
and turned it into a social experience as a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it's... I've got some information about murder of a millionaire. The players have to identify the killer of this unlucky lottery winner from a cast of well-drawn characters using varied case files of evidence that include photographs, witness statements, and then things like train timetables, newspaper clippings.
Can you
So it's
play
a lot of
these?
logical deduction,
Yeah.
puzzle solving.
I assume you can only play them once, though.
I think this is what somebody, when I was looking at this, somebody was saying that the downside is that once you've played it once,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I did read some, I don't know whether it was this or Traitors, where there are 6 different scenarios. But once you've gone
the
through all
6.
6,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
the answer, sort
Yeah.
of thing. But I suppose it's a bit like reading a murder mystery book. Once you've read it,
Yeah, you know the end.
you know who the murderer is.
And the other thing, of course, that we've not touched on is games people play on
On the computer.
on computers,
Yeah.
which
Wait,
are
sorry
murder
to say to our audience though, we all looked at the computer screen in the room without saying anything.
I don't think, John, you've got no murder mystery games, have you? When in your collection,
Probably the most famous one would be a game called Among Us.
Oh right. Okay.
Oh,
It was
the sauce thing.
yeah, like it was briefly shown in Glass Onion.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Basically, that game is like you're all on a spaceship and
As you are.
as you are, and you have to you're given tasks to like basically fix everything, but there is basically a murder or imposter among it, and that imposter has to kill everyone. If someone discovers a body, you call a meeting and you're like kind of like then try to talk to each other, and like you have to try and figure out who the killer is, and you can vote to either eject someone or not, or like choose to carry on, and basically everyone's either a detective or a killer.
Oh.
I didn't realise how widespread this whole use of board games is. I've got a friend of mine who goes to a weekly club where they play board games, but they play. I don't think it's your Cluedo, but they play some really sophisticated board games.
Oh yeah.
And these are quite popular, these clubs.
Yeah,
all over
someone
the
I
place.
went to school with is a real gamer. I mean,
Yeah.
both, computer games and also
Board games.
tabletop games. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see there being a rise in this sort of thing where, you have a games night with your family, or you do join a club or something like that.
Yeah. I was looking very, very quickly. I was looking to see if I could find any fiction, murder mystery fiction, which is built around a board game, but I couldn't. But what was interesting is that some big novels have spawned board games, like Lord of the Rings, like Harry Potter, and what was the other one? George Martin.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
All very popular board games have come out of those books.
Yeah. Well, I suppose when you think that Cluedo itself came out of the whole country house.
It did, yeah.
Golden age.
Yeah.
And
as we said,
Dungeons and Dragons was massive, wasn't it, at one time? I don't know whether it still is. And that's quite a complicated.
Oh, yeah. I think Stranger Things really.
Oh,
yeah.
Elevated it again, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose the other thing I was thinking about is with something like The Traitors is that you have a host sort of controller figure in Claudia.
Yeah.
Because you'll have seen this now because you've been watching the first series. That moment where she gets them all to line up in order of, how they think they'll get on. And there's the two at the end who've put themselves at the, we don't think we'll get very far end. And she just goes, right, off you pop then.
Yeah.
And everyone's absolutely horrified because, this is nice Claudia. She doesn't do things like this.
Yeah,
She's
go
that
away.
lovely woman from Strictly who talks to all the contestants. And here she is just offing people.
I nearly knocked her over,
Really?
They were doing the piano in Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
This is another game she hosts. Well, it's not a game, it's a competition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sort of reality show, isn't it?
Yes. But
Very good.
In some railway stations in the UK, there are pianos and people will sit and play them. And I was rushing to get somewhere, and they were recording it in Liverpool. And I nearly walked into her, and she's only little, and I'm not. And I nearly knocked her over, and she just looked at me and went, "Sorry, I'm in a hurry."
Oh well,
That
there
could've-
you go. Your claim to fame.
Yeah, that could have been the end of Traitors.
It could have been,
It could
couldn't
have,
it?
yes, if you'd knocked her flying.
Oh,
But there we go.
okay. I think we've come to the end of that lollipop.
Yeah. I mean, we probably could talk more.
Of
but
course we could, yeah.
No, that was an interesting muse on board games.
Well, we thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
and,
maybe you need to do a Warrington Detective board game of your books,
Oh,
Carol.
yeah.
There you go, food for thought.
Got me thinking there.
Indeed.
Right, okay. So we'll leave it there. Thank you all for listening, and please subscribe. It's creeping up. It's creeping up every week, our subscription.
That sounds vaguely threatening.
It does, doesn't it?
I think what Carol
Has it
means
got the
is
lead pipe in?
subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yes, like us, subscribe to us, and tell
Yeah.
your friends.
Yeah. So,
Leave
yeah.
a comment.
Yeah, tell your enemies if you want.
Yeah, we're here. We don't mind. We've got broad shoulders. So until this time next week, we'll leave you with our very good wishes for 2025. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to Only Murders in My Mind, a Random Thought production, produced by John Bissett. The music in Peril was composed and recorded by OM Studio Strings.